What's up, everybody? Luke here. I got one of my favorite players ever that I've ever played with. This is Victor Trujillo. Trujillo's a longtime friend. I played with him back at St. Francis out of Joliet, and also the Windy City Pride days as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, for a few years.
Very good. So why don't you give everyone kind of a background of who you are, where you played, what you've been through, and we'll start like that.
All right. Well, I guess if I go back to my roots, I started playing soccer back when I was about 9 years old. So I was kind of a late kind of starter.
Okay.
If you would think, a lot of people say
Start at
at
five or six, yeah.
start with the pee-wees or small, but I started very, very young. I mean, I started kind of later in the game, and I actually started as a defender.
Oh, really?
I was always the tallest kid around.
See, you're teaching me things that I don't even know.
Yeah.
So you started as a defender. Okay.
As a defender, one of the just boot the ball out and run forward. So it's a little bit of running, but I think I could recall one particular game when they put me as a forward and I scored 3 goals, and they're like, "Hey, I should just try this goal scoring services." So after that, played mostly. It was just recreational league in Marquette Park. That's where I started.
Okay.
And then little by little, just started developing soccer a little bit more with the help of my father, actually, who was helped me out with some ball skills and movements, and then played through there, and then started playing Collegiate League, which was like very competitive Mexican league here in Chicago.
So what neighborhood were you in? Did you start playing?
Well, I grew up in Back of the Yards.
Back of the Yards,
which
okay.
is borderline with Englewood, but
Englewood.
then
Okay.
I kind of migrated a little bit more to Marquette Park because there was the bigger park. There
Sure.
was like the actual league was there, and it was actually pretty good. We had some good family friends that played around there. So
Gotcha.
so growing up there, like I said, met a lot of people, played with a lot of people starting off recreationally, then moved a little bit more competitive. I actually didn't start playing club till I was 17, 18, right before college.
Right.
Just more or less opportunities, and there was not many clubs around like the Chicago inland area. It was more or less like in the suburbs. So
Gotcha.
then from that, played high school. I did get a chance to here and there train with like the fire PDL or any of that, but it was just like one-offs.
Gotcha.
But I still stuck with high school, and then ended up going to University of St. Francis, where I met you.
Yeah.
And then from there, just had some unfortunate series of events, dealing with injuries, and then eventually, wasn't able to finish my senior year. So then after that, as of now, I just play here competitively, National League, class size, but I know a lot of leagues all around
Absolutely.
Chicago. So
Yeah, probably every Hispanic league in Chicago knows who Victor Trujillo
yeah,
is. Probably.
I've got my name around in that sense. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: how did so Cole was our coach at St. Francis? How did he find you? Were there other colleges interested in you? Like how was your college? How was getting into college?
It was actually really interesting because coming here from Mexico when I was 5, I ended up my visa ended up being expiring, so
Okay.
I wasn't able to apply for residency. We did actually apply, but it was going to be a really long process.
Okay.
So going through high school, I always had the uncertainty of like, am I going to be able to go to college? I don't have a valid social security. I'm still like considered an illegal alien. So it would be difficult, but I knew that there was one out way to do it, and it was sports. It was being able to get a scholarship through sports. It was going to get me to go to college. So
well, I think you touch on a good point there, because I think there's a lot of kids that go through the same process that you've gone through that don't really know how to navigate the waters because of that situation. Mm-hmm. What kind of advice would you give for kids like that are in those situations in regards to like papers and legality and uncertainty in those regards?
I mean, I think the biggest advice would be you got to use any available resource and exploit as much as you can from that source.
Yeah.
Like I said, luckily I was able to pick up soccer fairly quickly, and I used it to my advantage. I knew that in collegiate sports, there's a lot of opportunities of scholarships, and so that more or less then.
So if you get a scholarship from a school, it's pretty much like whether you're technically legal or they'll take care of you.
Yeah,
they'll find a way to make it work.
Yeah,
because they're bringing in internationals. Anyway.
Yeah,
right.
They're bringing players from all over Europe, South America, Central America. So Yeah, so it was like I said, it was a great way for me to explore that opportunity, and I'm like, okay, well, they could bring someone from Europe, or they could just use me as a homegrown player.
Yeah.
So eventually, like I said, it was picking up soccer and just training hard and trying to get to the next level. Besides enjoying it, it wasn't just the work of trying to get to college. It was just enjoying this actual sport.
Gotcha.
So yeah, when I made all state in soccer my senior year, I was all sectional junior year, and I played for the Lisseau Institute. So it was like the Catholic league, but it was still very competitive. I did get to play against Lions Township, Loyola, all the kind of bigger names that you would say around the state of Illinois. But
that's good.
how I stumbled upon Cole was there was an all-state game that was held out in I believe it was up in north, close to Rockford, or a little bit more north. And it was just a combine. It was a combine of all. It was an all-state players. It was all-state.
A high school combine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was all-state, and then so there was an all-sectional game, and then there was an all-state game where they just threw us left different positions, and then they had different coaches come watch us play.
Yeah.
And one of them, which was Cole.
Cool.
And initially, he talked to me after the game, and said he got my information, and then I talked to a few other coaches, and I actually did get interest from UIC, from Loyola, DePaul. Okay. But then what I actually ended up happening is actually kind of interesting was I ended up sending back like a mass email with like pretty much a description of my situation. Like, this is my situation. I don't have residency. I'm looking for almost 100% to 100% scholarship. Yeah, I'm going to get some academic help, but I definitely need that, that help from the soccer side.
So you knew exactly what you wanted,
yeah,
basically, and you typed up something to try to get that, a template, basically, mm-hmm. and then just sent it to all the coaches that were interested?
Yeah, all the coaches that shot me emails and stuff like that, I was literally, or even through a phone call, I was like very transparent when it come down to the situation, because there was a difficulty in that time. It was still kind of early after 9/11. It was still like there was a lot of changes in laws. So all the friends that I knew that played even in community colleges needed, like, besides having like an ID from school, they would go through an additional background check. Some would even stay back in the airport and go through like immigration or like a terrorist you would say interview.
Things were really tight back then.
So it was so it was a little bit difficult in that sense. I knew like a lot of friends that weren't even allowed to travel to a different state at the moment.
Gotcha.
So once I talked to that with coaches, they looked at their budget. They're like, okay, this player is gonna be worth to me 15, 20, 25 grand,
right?
From my budget, and I might have difficulties. He might not be traveled to a game or whatnot. So a lot of coaches were very straightforward. I mean, they're like, yeah, it's kind of difficult for the amount of money they would spend on me. They could get 2 or 3 other players that already had the fast follow or any government help. So
gotcha.
So I mean, I had a couple still conversations, but I ended up I really liked the way Cole talked. He has a good way of presenting himself and talking about soccer, and then his passion, and we kind of had similar backgrounds as well.
Okay.
Being an immigrant, he came, and I could relate to him. He could relate to me, my parents' situation. So he was able to be very open with me. So I was like, I definitely like that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and
that's
then
awesome.
He didn't. He sold me on the fact that me being a person that I always want to chase to change things or be different. He did sell the fact that St. Francis is a very small school. They had just had a terrible season. They had lost 11-1 in the game,
and you can make an impact.
And I could definitely be like, okay, if I go to this team and this university, and with the type of players he's promising and bringing, we could change the program around. We can actually be that one that's gonna be like, no, this program, it's not just a team that's gonna go in there and get.
And sure enough, that squad did it. I mean, I was part of it for a couple of years, and then you guys went on and even did bigger and better things when I left.
Yeah.
I mean, his plan worked pretty good.
Yeah, he actually got the ball moving. I mean, this last year they did pretty well as well. But I remember going in there and meeting everyone. Like, a lot of people, I've only knew like 1 or 2 players that were going there.
Yeah.
But I hadn't, growing up, I played and obviously with Hispanics, playing here and there with some Caucasians, Europeans, but going in there and it was just a completely mixed. It was like literally we had Mexicans, we had Europeans, Polish, we had Americans, we had all types of players. So it was really interesting learning and evolving with that type of soccer, different than growing up.
Absolutely.
So,
well, take me back. You went through like a really tough time with your family
Yeah,
when you were younger.
yeah,
Talk to me about that.
yeah. So
How old were you?
I was. It was actually 4 days after my 16th birthday, so I was still
You were
a
16.
sophomore. I was a
Okay.
sophomore in high school,
Okay.
and obviously my brothers. We were 4 years apart, so my sister was still, sixth grade, and my brother was like in third grade. So it was like, so we were all fairly young, and then that incident happened where some guy tried to rob my dad,
Okay.
and after we robbed him, it was very early in the morning, like at 5 a.m. in the morning. He was on his way to work, and he tried to rob him at gunpoint. My dad gave him everything he wanted, but the guy wasn't it wasn't enough for him. He wanted to go back into the house and take whatever we had, but my dad was like, I'm not gonna take you back into my house. My family's there. I have my three younger young children, my wife. We have family members on the first floor. I'm like, this could turn into a massacre. The guy, when I talked to my dad about it,
Holy shit.
the guy was very whacked out in the head. Like
You could just tell.
he's like, he can tell. And after he told him, look, I have kids at home, he literally said, a couple weeks ago they just killed my daughter, so I really don't care about your family, about anything. So as soon as he said that, my dad's like, you're not going to my house. So on the way of the guy pushing him to take him back to the house, he tried to move around and slap the gun out of the way, and the guy just ended up shooting. And my dad said that the guy didn't mean to shoot. He was just scared at that moment, because at the moment we were fighting for weapon. Whoever gets the weapon is gonna be the one that's gonna end up surviving. So the guy ended up shooting him and ended up hitting him across the head, through the ear, across the spinal cord. So he ended up having, it's called C4 level incomplete, just like a splinter off. But that was enough to make him a quadriplegic that he is now. So
Wow.
that was a difficult. It wasn't just difficult on me going, still being 16 years old, being very very young. I still have like my younger brother and sister that were more dependent on him than I was at that moment.
Right,
so,
right.
I was already growing up in the teenage age where I'm like, oh, I could do it on my own and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
so I had to take the role of being, you would say, the man of the house, or being
Sure.
the older male in the house.
Right.
So it was difficult at first. It was it was like the first year was on and off the hospital. It was like 2 months in the emergency room, pretty much being in intensive care. And then after that, it was like 3 or 4 months of nursing homes, or he was in a nursing home by himself, or moving around, just more or less, so he can recover and be able to speak again and be able to act normal again. So
That's incredible.
now he's able to just speak, breathe, yell, do everything except feed himself, and pretty much have no movement underneath.
Yeah. I mean, I
his
saw him a
chest.
couple weeks ago. He's doing well now.
Yeah,
he's
I mean, he
doing
can
pretty
yell,
good.
which is him and my brother are always arguing about something. So yeah.
That's an incredible story. So like, this happens. You're 16 years old. Like, you're forced to kind of take responsibilities in certain situations that normally a 16-year-old wouldn't have to do. What kind of impact did that have on you? Like, to get a scholarship, or let's say, did that have an impact on you to like find a school, a scholarship, or
Yeah,
something
it
along those lines?
was definitely huge. I knew that having one less source of income from a parent, I needed to definitely be the first one, the role model for the family. I had to make it somewhere or other, and I was always pretty good at school.
Yeah.
I wasn't the most disciplined in school. Sometimes I wasn't your study every day 6 to 10 p.m. or anything. That was more or less like I picked up easily on school, so I'm like, I need another way, another exit, another way for me to be able to get my scholarship, get my diploma, be able to get a career going.
Right.
And at the moment I was very hopeful, where even though I go through school, I get my scholarship, eventually I'll be able to get a residency and be able to get a job.
Right.
So I knew that I needed to. It was pretty much either you make it or you're gonna be struggling for a long time.
Wow.
So it definitely gave me an extra little push, seeing my brother, my sister, my dad in situation, my mom having to work so much. So growing up in a neighborhood like that, I'm like, I could be the outlet. I could be the one that gets everyone out, and then changes the course of the unfortunate events that we had.
That's incredible.
So definitely, like I said, it was difficult at first because there was difficult training, difficult getting places. I had no parent to drive me to games or stuff like that. So I had to learn how to drive at 16. So that was so I remember driving something all the way. I think the 5 years we used to train once or twice all the way back, really, really north, or anywhere that I would go, I had to drive. And I was 16, 17, so it was like, I was still having no license to be able to drive. Even if I was here, I would need to get a permit from, taking the classes. So,
Oh my God.
So it was difficult, but there was always a way around. And a door would close, another door will open all the time.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so, and I think it was more or less more difficult on my brother, and my sister does well, but my brother, because he was 8 years old, and he was killing it on the field.
Really?
Everyone that I knew growing up, they thought that I was a good player, but they would say this kid was gonna surpass you. Like
your
easily.
brother?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like easily. He could shoot with both legs. My dad was an NBA striker. He could shoot better with his left than with his right. He shoot free kicks with his left, and he was righty.
And so your brother was like that?
Yeah, and he was quick little guy. He was smart. He was 8. He was scoring 5, 6, 7 goals in any competition he would go.
Yeah.
But after the incident, it was difficult for him to. I would take him to his games, but he lost like motivation, and he wanted to be more at home around my dad, and it was more or less like he kind of lost.
Had an impact on him.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely like the person I think in the family that had the biggest impact. Yeah, my life changed. My sister's life changed. My mom's life dramatically changed. But him being the youngest one and not be able to cope things with stuff like that.
Yeah. It
was like it changed his way, at least in terms of sports or anything that had to do with what ambition he had. Because he only had me as a role model in playing soccer, and I was still a young kid.
Yeah.
By having someone like a father that's teaching you, skills, or teaching you, touches, or one out talking to you about it, was a little bit difficult. So,
right.
Yeah.
So you go to St. Francis. You start tearing up the soccer field at St. Francis.
Yeah.
Freshman year, sophomore year.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was I would say it was definitely a culture shock for me. Like I said, growing up in, you would say, unorganized soccer, you grow up being, doing your thing. Everybody gets the ball. Everybody's gonna dribble. Everyone's gonna get their Megan. Everyone's gonna have to do something flashy. So it was a culture shock for me, because I was used to playing against other people that would try to do that to me, and then going to college playing against that. No, they're not gonna do 1, 2, or 3 roulettes or touch the ball 10 times. They're gonna get the ball 2 touches and take off.
Yeah.
So I had to definitely change my view of the game, and luckily, like I said, the transition was helped me out a lot with Cole, and literally being thrown into the pit right away.
Yeah.
Like where I could take on 2 or 3 players, but if I don't pass the ball by the third, my legs are gonna be shot.
Yeah.
And and so I needed to adapt my game a little bit more. But I think what the beauty of was that Cole still allowed me to be myself.
Yeah.
It's like, Victor, I know you know what you need to do. You just give me a little bit of this extra.
Yeah. So
freshman year, like I said, I think we had a great team.
Yeah.
Everybody right away started, getting along with each other.
Hungry.
Yeah, we were
very, very
getting
hungry.
there. I remember our biggest W was against IIT freshman year.
At home.
Yeah. 2-1. I think I scored the second goal. I think it's just the first one, but the goal, I still remember it like very, very vivid to this day, where got the ball in the corner of the box. We were attacking north at the corner of the box, and I just took on like 3 people, and it was just like, I don't know, it's at that moment where you're just like in the zone, and you forget what you actually did at the moment, where I maneuver around 3 people, took a shot first post, 2-1, and I remember Cole was like super excited. Like he even hugged me. I think we went into and it was just like, he showed emotions that not before. I'm like, what this team had.
I think up until that point, it was not, St. Francis isn't supposed to beat IIT, let alone score on IIT. Yeah. And we were right in the mix there.
Yeah, the game. I mean, last year the game was 11-1, and they were laughing during halftime, and it was
the year prior.
Yeah, year prior. I remember Cole said that it hurt his pride so much that losing 8-1, and they were like laughing and like relaxing, and his team was just defeated. And he's like, so going up back next year with a new approach, new team, new players, and beat them 2-1.
It's huge.
He said it was like completely different for him. So
that's incredible. Those little moments.
Yeah, those little moments that people might forget about, but are like, wow, it's like, it's a memory that people are never gonna forget.
So freshman year, sophomore year, I know it's junior and senior year definitely, but freshman, sophomore year, were you recognized as like one of the best players in the conference?
I would say little by little, my name snuck up into the talks that the coaches had.
Okay.
I know Cole would mention it here and there, but he would say in order for me to give me like some confidence, and like, hey, you're doing it good, But at the
You
same
need to push
time,
through.
he's like, push through, and people are looking at you, and just keep doing that, and give me a little more.
Right.
I know he mentioned a couple of times they had meetings on, if even freshman year, I think I made second team all conference or first team all conference. I can't recall. But he did mention, he's like, they're talking about you, or even when I would play St. Xavier or other teams that would say, hey, they're talking about marking you up. Some of my friends would tell me, I don't know why they're talking about you, but they said, watch out for number 17.
Because you had some friends playing maybe
Yeah.
at like IIT or something?
I had friends, a friend at IIT, a friend at Robert Morris, and St. Xavier.
Okay.
I grew up with all these kids, and, they'd seen me play, but they had not seen me play at college level.
Okay.
Where, I think we can agree that it's a completely different game anywhere else, from rec, from pickup, from even competitive. You would say state cup. It's like a different game for college. So they said, watch out for you. So I ended up, taking off pretty well. Like I said, it was different. It was a different shot because it asked me more of my condition wise. Like, we had the 6 a.m. practices, class at 8 a.m. and then still, try to, keep up and go to the gym or working out or still trying to stay in shape. But I was, like I said, I was able to recognize by some teams, and then, Cole gave me the confidence of, keep doing what you're doing, and you keep going.
Yeah.
And then sophomore year, freshman year, I think I kind of blew up a little bit. Then sophomore year, flatline, I would say. Teams picked up on the way we played, strategy, the way I played, and I needed to change the game a little bit more.
Again,
coming into junior year,
right?
Which sophomore year we kind of were shaking. We did so well freshman year that sophomore year we had harder games. We had some more travel. We ended up going to, I think it was North Carolina. We ended up going.
Yeah, we weren't sophomore year. We weren't really able to catch teams by surprise. I think like we did freshman year.
Yeah.
Sophomore year, I think they knew what to expect. They knew we had a good squad, so it was a little bit tougher going into games.
Yeah.
But junior year, you guys did really well.
Yeah, junior year, I mean,
because I left sophomore year. Junior year, you guys did really well.
I felt like junior year were individually I blew up, but the team as well.
Yeah, so I think they just needed me to get off the team, and then you guys could be on your merry way.
Actually, I really do wish you would have stayed. You were stuck around for the team. I needed someone with a little bit of that different hunger and mentality that he had.
So, but tell me about that time, because it must have been awesome.
I think it was just the right mixture of everyone wanting the same thing. Because I feel like throughout freshman and sophomore year, we did have those players that they wanted to have experience the college life. You go in freshman year, sophomore year, there's a party. There's there's either skip class, skip practice, let's do this and that.
Yeah.
Other activities as you're not just, if you think about it, it's not just your soccer career, it's just your personal life changing as well.
Right.
You're free on your own now. You don't have parents supervising you. A lot of people are still don't understand. Oh yeah, we should go to practice, or I should try hard. No, I'm gonna be tired later on. I won't be able to go out or whatever. So, freshman, sophomore year, it was a little bit of lack of discipline, I would say.
Yeah, and ironically, that's primarily the reason why I left.
Yeah,
is because there's a good group of kids on the team that weren't heart and soul into soccer or into the team.
Yeah.
That I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
But so you're telling me junior year that changed.
Yeah, junior year I felt like most of everyone mature.
Yeah.
We literally started, preseason, and I individually I had, a little bit more exposure to playing higher I would say higher competition in Collegiate, or we got to go to Arizona and started playing with Windy City Pride freshman year. So I started getting a little bit more exposure to that more competitive, higher intensity soccer.
Right.
And along with the rest of the team, everybody matured. Everybody, let's just have a good preseason. They started playing well. Cole definitely had every set piece, every position. Kind of had 2 or 3 players that were competing for each other. That's definitely key. You want people
competing for position. Yeah.
You want the best of the best and people to try their best.
Yeah.
So we did have a couple of new acquisitions when it came down to players freshman, sophomore year that knew that hunger that we had.
Yeah.
And we had already the older guys that wanted to take off.
And did you guys go to the national tournament that year?
No, we actually, the highest that we got to go was we well, we were nationally ranked at one point.
Okay.
We were undefeated for like the first 8-9 games, and we were killing it. We had a lot of upsets, a lot of good games. I remember the first game that we lost was, I believe, was against Indiana Wesleyan, and that was like a kind of turning point in our season. But still, we took a loss for there, and then we went to go lose against, I believe it was something with Crystal, but they beat us really badly, and that woke us up. We were getting too confident. We're like, oh, we're ranked in the nation. We were ranked, I think, like 32 in the nation or something.
And that's huge for
St.
Francis.
For St. Francis to be ever ranked, that was really, really huge.
Yeah.
Never, I don't know when the last time in their history was when they were ranked.
Yeah.
And we were doing really well. Even myself individually, I was ranked maybe like second or third in top scorer in the country. So
wow.
we were killing it.
Yeah.
We were lead goal scorer. I think I was nominated 2 or 3 times.
You were on the map.
Yeah.
As Co would put it.
I would put yeah. There was 2 or 3 times I was nationally player of the week, or at least honorably mentioned. So we're doing well, and despite being ranked and stuff like that. And then we got, shot down. We went back up and we're like, we need to get back in our game.
Yeah. So how'd you guys end the season?
We ended up losing in the semifinal for the conference. And it was against Judson University. I remember we lost 2-1, which was a very just crappy games where it's just like we had the chances, we missed, and they just put away like scrappy goals.
Wow.
It was one of those games where it's just like you're doing everything well. They score some scrappy goals. You can't score the scrappy ones. You can't score the nice ones.
Yeah.
And they ended up beating 2-1.
Wow.
I remember they ended up taking the conference tournament. They won the championship and ended up going to, I think they went top 8 or something like that in the nation that day. So
they had a pretty good squad as well, huh?
Yeah, they had it was actually pretty good. It was like a lot of old, it helped out with them. They had older individuals. They had a lot of over, since there was no age cap and, NIA. It was all of us were maybe at the under 23, 24 years old.
Yeah,
they had like some 27s, almost 30 years old that, you can tell the maturity level from us. It was completely different.
Gotcha.
So it was a good year.
So junior year, you guys do pretty well. Senior year, you get injured. How'd that happen?
Senior year was pretty bad. It was we started the preseason, and I remember just one play. I was just weird. I was just exhausted, and Cole was right. He even said that you looked like you were gonna get hurt in the play. I was exhausted. We had ran 5 miles for preseason. We were just scrimmaging, and I was a little bit on the lazier side. And in one of the plays, I went up for a header, and I kind of stepped wrong, and my knee just gave in. And
when you came down, when you
landed, when I landed,
that's exactly how I did mine.
And at the moment, me being who I am, I'm like. And where I grew up with minor injuries, I'm like, I just need a massage.
Yeah.
Massage, some Epsom water and salt.
Let's the good old Mexican treatment.
Yeah, that's definitely the treatment that Mexicans do. Get Epsom salt, get a little massage, give it a month. Ibuprofen,
voila,
you're good.
It's good.
Yeah.
So you did the treatment, and it didn't work.
I did the treatment. Leg was swollen, huge.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not feeling any better. I would start playing again, and I felt like my knee was very weak. I was even pumping gas. My knee would just give away sometimes, or I was practice.
So you were pumping gas, and your knee was giving out.
Yeah.
So you knew something was wrong.
Yeah, I knew something was wrong. I mean, I knew it. I just didn't want to accept it.
Gotcha.
So eventually, I ended up going to trainers. I'm like, hey, I definitely need an MRI. In like 2 weeks, got an MRI. They're like, torn ACL, out for the season. I didn't even get to play. That senior year, I literally got to play maybe not even a game. It was like before.
That's it. So that was it.
So surgery. I went to the games and my cast and everything. When I got surgery right away.
Jeez.
But being the person I am, I'm like, I need to get back on the field as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Skipped through therapy. 6 months in, went to go play. Popped it again.
No way. Same knee. Well,
actually, I started playing 6 months, and I started playing little by little. Yeah. But then we started back in college, and I still didn't feel strong enough. And I started wearing the big brace that they gave you, which was really annoying.
Yeah.
Killed it the first 5 games, so it was already my senior year. But we had kind of like a good squad, and played 5 games, had 6 games, had 6 goals.
So you redshirted your senior year?
I redshirted
and then you were able to play
the next year.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Yeah, then this my senior when I'm actually playing, because I stayed the extra semester. They give you the 10th semester for scholarships to still cover it.
Got
So
it.
I stayed to play, and 6 games in I tore again, and it was all pure lack of preparation by me. No
Wow.
physical therapy, just started playing again, running, playing.
No
Knee
way.
wasn't strong, leg wasn't strong. I didn't recover
Wow.
like I needed to be. And then, like I said, played 6 games, had 6 goals.
Okay.
Got hurt against Calumet, and again, same play, jump to block a ball, landed on my knee, gave away in again, boom. That's it. That was the end of my college season.
Oh my gosh.
And career for sure, because after 6 games in, you can't redshirt again.
Yeah.
So, after that, it was like I supported the team still, but they struggled because, Cole had that trust in me since freshman, sophomore year to keep me as a striker. So as soon as it was just actually really funny that play 6 games, score 6 goals, and ended up top scorer in the team. Because I ended up getting a plaque saying I was the most offensive player of the game in the team.
And you sat on this bench.
And I sat on the bench for
half
the
the
remainder
season.
of the 13 games.
Wow.
We didn't get someone else to come in and score goals because it was it wasn't as easy. But
That's crazy.
yeah. So it's intense.
So let me ask you this, because I think a lot of the audience will, or hopefully some of the audience that come from situations that you came from, can resonate with this. What advice do you have for kids that maybe grow up in the city, and let's say their family don't have the funds to get them into the Chicago Fire Juniors or the Chicago Magics or maybe some of these top local clubs. They don't have the funds to get them in there to get them used to competitive soccer. How do young kids stay motivated to just to keep playing and to have that vision to play like college or pro and that type of stuff?
I honestly think it's similar situations as with me or kids that grew up in the city or that don't see that type of exposure or competitiveness. I think they need to take advantage of any little opportunity they do get, or any type of. I know now, in comparison to before, there's a lot of academies that are growing. There's a lot of people that they do see the value, and yeah, I might spend $200, $300, $400 a year on my son, but what I need to see is the kids being as well as the parents. They need to see that it's really an investment in the future.
Okay.
I know a lot of kids a lot of younger kids that I know right now. They ask me the same question. It's like, hey, like what do I tell my son? What can I do to kind of follow the same career path?
And what do you say?
And I literally tell them, you really need to invest in your kids, in your kid's future, and you need to guide them and always be supportive of him.
Right.
I know a lot of kids that have the parents do pay the $1,200 at Fire or the $500 in any other place, and you would get similar quality in other academies, but what's important is that they do have that investment, because it does make a difference.
Okay.
It does make a difference to you do the training with someone that has experience, that someone has been through before. You do have a lot of benefit from playing with different type of, you would say, a race or different type of players, competitiveness.
Okay.
So the parents are a little bit more supportive in the sense like, yeah, it's gonna hurt me a little bit to pay my kid to be in play for the state cup, play for this, but most of them might be able to get a scholarship. Do you want to pay $500 a year for a couple years, and the kid eventually develop his own skills and be able to be a great player and get in rewards, not be able to pay his college, get a $25,000-$30,000 scholarship, or do you want to let the kid be on his own and not support him?
Right.
And
one of the things I think too, tryouts.
Yeah.
Academy tryouts. Not even with the sole purpose of making the team, but maybe just for experience, so that the kid can kind of taste on like what that level is to get to. So when he does go back and play at Marquette Park and this and that, he has something to benchmark and look forward to, right? And he can put that training in at Marquette Park, whatever league he's playing in, knowing what the competition and what style, what kind of player he needs to be to make it at that next level.
Yeah, it's about learning where you stand in the grand scheme of soccer.
Yeah.
You could be your superstar at Marquette, your superstar in this league, but then you look to the right and you see State Cup, you see National Cup, you see Open Cup, you see professional players, you college players.
Yeah.
And where do you stand in that list? Are you one of the better? You just want to be the better player with the lower leagues, or do you want to be an average player with this team, or can you make it?
Right. And I don't know if you've done this, but just go to an academy tryout. Go to a club tryout. Taste what the kids have to, are playing, what the level of play is there. And then also the coaches can get some eyes on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got the chance, like I said, when I was here and there with the Fire, and I got to know, I'm like, man, this is a completely different game.
Yeah.
I got to try out. Actually, when I was younger, I got the opportunity, but I didn't take up on it, and it was just mainly because residency level status. I was actually scouted to go play, to try out in Mexico.
Okay.
They had a scout that came here for a tournament, and he gave me the opportunity. Like, look, you're a good player. You're tall. You're only 16 years old, 17. I can take you to Mexico, and I could build you and put you in a team, and you'll develop, and I can make you go pro. And he's like, and I believe in you. But at the moment, the situation that I was in with my parents, I'm like, I couldn't leave them and abandon them, even if it was my dream.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to be more conscious of the situation.
Practical with the situation.
Yeah. So it gave me the idea where I stood in soccer and the level, but I still having a little tryout with the Fire that I went to was still give me another slap to reality where I'm like, oh man, I need to work on this.
Yeah.
I need to go back to drawing boards and do more sprints, touch the ball better. One time, two times,
giving you that motivation.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
it gave me more or less that fuel. Man, I showed up and then those kids completely owned me.
Yeah, or maybe like I was right there, or I knowing that you can be just as good as them.
Yeah. It was just like, I need better training. I need better diet. I need better motivation. I need better discipline. I need better this. So it was just a little bit of like things that were opening up to me that I'm not used to, all the eye opening that I have that I wasn't used to. Right. Growing up in the comfort zone where like playing in the alley in the city, playing in Marquette Park, you're just happy that you're playing on turf. Yeah. And you're just like, oh, this is now you completely change it. You were playing on turf against the guys that could run a 40 in 4.5 or 5 seconds, and you never really done it or stuff like that. So
sure.
Definitely a lot of fuel that you get from that type of tryouts and stuff like that. And kids, I think what they need to see is they need to be able to challenge themselves more. It's easy to go play in the alley and score a goal and be happy, go home happy, but it's not easy to score in a state cup game, in a playoff game, in a final or whatnot.
Right.
That's
the difference.
And to get to that level, like I said, people ask me about soccer all the time, like Messi, Ronaldo. I'm like, no one reason why I admire Ronaldo is because his hard work. It's literally the definition of, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I have physical attributes, but without the hard work, that huge hard work in between, you're just gonna be another tall, lengthy soccer player that was okay. Right. Right. That was an average player. You're not gonna get much out of soccer. Yeah. In that sense.
Well, I'm a Messi fan, so we won't get into that debate today. But,
that's definitely true.
But Victor Trujillo, thanks for coming, man.
You're welcome.
That's a good story. I appreciate you being on board. And so if you give 3 pieces of advice, just 3 pieces of advice for inner city kids that want to make it to the top, what are your top 3 based off of your experience, your situations, your perspectives? What are your top 3 pieces of advice?
I think I'll start with definitely the main one, which was dream.
Dream big.
Dream big.
Don't stop dreaming.
Yeah, the world is there. The opportunities are there. Get motivated. Dream big. I grew up watching YouTube videos of Ronaldo, Messi, Ronaldinho, everyone, and I'm like, I need to learn how to do this. I need to learn that. So it's always having that dream,
that
vision of like this. I can see myself there.
Yes.
And from there is from the second part of my advice is, from the dream, be hungry. Yeah. You have to be hungry for what you want. You will have to be hungry for that scoring that goal. You have to be hungry for, I'm gonna take on this guy. Be hungry for doing things that you don't think you're gonna be able to do.
Yeah.
Like, try them. You have to try them. You have to be able to not be afraid of trying anything.
Yes.
And I think the third one, my last one is definitely has to be is enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Enjoy the process. Me being 27 now, I did enjoy my times in high school soccer or college soccer, but I think a lot of people don't understand that in a second you're gonna be looking back at high school.
Yeah.
You're gonna be looking back at club soccer. I'm sure to this day you probably sit there and reminisce. I'm like, man, I miss that Friday night games.
Yeah.
In high school.
Yeah.
So enjoying what you're doing, it's gonna give you a bigger reward than just scoring a goal and saying, hey, I'm happy.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, you score a goal, you enjoy it, you live it, you memorize it,
Yeah.
you dream it again, you work for it again, and then you enjoy it again. And it's just a repetitive cycle. Like I said, after 2 surgeries, I could have quit soccer, but all the memories that I have in my head of what I did and what I can do and what I could want to do still,
yeah,
it keeps you going.
Yeah.
And you have those 3 components when it comes down to soccer. You'll have the hunger for skill.
Yeah.
You have the dream for skill. All that, you just have to keep working on it. So it's definitely the 3 things that kept me going and still keeps me going to this day. So,
Victor, thank you, brother.
Take care. For having me. Definitely looking forward to helping out
Very
whatever
good.
I can.
That's it for today.